All right, y'all, what is going on? Back with another video. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. It is Wednesday. It is nice out here yet again. Another beautiful day. And just out here working. Same old. And hopefully you guys are doing the same and keeping everything in order. If this is your first time here, welcome. I appreciate you coming over to the channel. Over here we talk about gaming and everything under that umbrella. And I appreciate everyone who's watching the live streams and all the other content. Check out all the links down in the description. I really appreciate you guys. With that being said, let's talk about this article that I looked at. I was looking at this as I was sitting here waiting to get the truck unloaded. It says a new study reveals that a majority of video game sales are fueled by only 4% of players. In 2025, 63% of U.S. consumers are buying fewer games. And what makes this more alarming is that, one thing about this is that I think it's like only 30%. Yeah, it says right here, only 30% of US based gamers purchase one or two games per year. So really, like, the enthusiast gamers are basically carrying the torch for this industry. And I think it's mostly, to be quite honest, it's probably mostly the PC gamers or the ones who like to buy a bunch of games day one. I do feel like a lot of people aren't buying games now because of Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. And the reason why I do say PC gamers, you also got to understand that PC gamers, even though there's a stigma over piracy and stuff, a lot of those gamers buy a lot of games off of Steam, Epic, Humble Bundle, GOG. They buy a lot of games through sales or whatever the case may be. And don't get me wrong, there are sales on the PlayStation and Xbox, and even Nintendo, which, Nintendo. Even though there are sales over there, there's nothing like sales on the PC. And it's not those shade at consoles or whatever, but console gamers kind of got it really, really good when it comes to like the PlayStation Pluses and Game Pass of the world. I mean, they got it really good. And that's one reason why you may want a console for that access. But when I look at this, I started to understand why the industry is the way it is now. They're very monetized. They're trying to get all these things where they can continuously have money on their on their ledger, because people are not spending money like that. And another thing, the quality of games just haven't been there. I think 2025 is like the first year where you had day one titles that are actually really good. There was a good bit of games that came out that are really solid. Now, I did a short, or I did a TikTok about it a while back, and there's like really solid games. But years before that, people were like, well, I'll just play older games. And there's other studies out there saying that people are playing older games from 4 or 5 years ago. They're not really into buying new games, or they're just like, some of this stuff may not even be reported properly, where people are buying games from like untraditional places. Like, let's say GameStop is an untraditional place when you buy used games. That's probably not even in the statistics. So these are the type of things that you have to take account for as well. Like me, I like to buy games from GameStop because it's just so easier to buy a used game nowadays, and it's much cheaper. And say what we want about GameStop, they have so much of an inventory that a lot of their stuff they're just trying to let go anyway. And as well as mom and pop shops where they have your independent brick and mortar stores, where I do a lot of my pickups as well. A lot of these newer games I rarely pick up, so I don't know if that's a factor in it or whatever the case may be. But I'm pretty sure with that subscription base, what else? Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, even with some instances with how you doing, man? How you doing? All right, all right. Even with Nintendo, with their Nintendo Online service, where you can get to play some of the retro stuff if you have the service, it kind of gets to the point where people may not be jumping on this stuff like that. Not the new stuff. And the ones who do it, like I said, it's like the 4% that are carrying this industry to keep it afloat. So I do feel like the gaming, ecosystem is still growing to an extent, but I don't think it's growing off the backs of new stuff. I do feel that. I think a lot of people have gone either retro, or a lot of people have gone just stayed with the course of modern gaming, to where they just stick with what's been released in the last 4 to 5 years, and they're just killing out their backlog. They're just taking out the backlog. They're just finding ways to finish certain games that are just they're finishing games that are, pretty much there that they didn't get to play back in 2022, or they didn't get to play back in 2024. So it just feels that way, because every time when I look around, outside of the people who are playing like sports titles, they're just basically playing older games. Like, you even look at my content now. I'm playing a PlayStation 2 game on my live stream, and I'm playing a lot of racing games from the mid to late 2000s. And like the sports titles that I put on here are older games. It's just, and to me, I just started getting back into Madden 26 last night. You know what I'm saying? I just got back into playing Madden 26 last night. So that just goes to show you, like, for me, if it ain't the 6th, 7th, or even in some cases the 8th generation, I'm probably, not gaming. Those games from back then were like really, really good, so I feel like at the end of the day, this is what we're going to be dealing with as far as purchases. It'll be interesting to see how further they go with the years to come. Will this continue to be a trend, or whatever the case may be? And what does that say about the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series? We already kind of know what the Xbox Series is going through, but it's interesting to see. But I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. You can see I'm sweating now because it's kind of hot. I don't have the truck on. It is what it is. But the weather's beautiful. It's just the sun beaming down on me right here. It is what it is. But with that being said, y'all let me know what y'all think. I will be back with more content. I have NCAA baseball MVP 07 on the coming. More Fatal Frame 2. And I may do some other stuff. So let me get up out of here. Look at me. I'm looking crazy. But I'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. All right, y'all, I'm out. Peace.